I'm now going to introduce to you Gary Hickox from New Life Agency. New Life is one of the key providers of insurance for fertility and surrogacy in America. We're really lucky to have Gary with us today. He's going to give us a rundown for 15 minutes just on the insurance process. I've always found it confusing, although I'm supposed to be an expert in this area. So we're really happy to have Gary here with us today to talk about it all for us. He's helped couples around the world, singles around the world do this. Welcome, Gary.
Hi, everybody. So insurance is an interesting and complex subject, and it's tough to cover in 15 minutes. So the one thing I'll guarantee you is I'm not going to answer all your questions now, but we have information on our slide about how to reach us. We have a booth over here in the corner. So please call us, talk to us, let us help you through the process. Surrogacy itself is probably one of the most complex emotional, psychological, legal, and physical processes you can go through. And insurance is an important component of that. And so we're here to help you with whatever your insurance needs are. That's what we actually do. So I'm a gay man married to a gay man. I have a daughter that I got custody of at 15 when my oldest sister passed away. So I raised her from there. And one of the things you'll find out after you have kids, you never stop raising them. So she's 40 now, and I have 2 grandchildren, and it's kind of the best of all worlds. I happen to love babies, but I'm at the point in my life where I'm 60. Probably babies aren't in my horizon. Even if you marry a younger man, they're still probably not in your horizon. So we want to help give you the most peaceful and blessed journey you can have in having a baby. Our mission is to deliver healthy and happy babies and give the intended parents a completely carefree journey in that area. We'll offer the best medical support, the best care. We've been through every situation. If we sent around a little box and said, put an idea in here that we faced with, I can guarantee you we have faced every situation that could happen in a pregnancy. So to give you an idea of some stats, about 50% of our clients are gay men, 50% are heterosexual fertility challenge couples, 60% of our clients are international. We insure probably between 400 and 500 surrogates a year with a variety of insurance packages. And we insure about 5,000 egg donors a year for complications. And on average, about 100 international babies. So that gives you an idea of the scope of the business that we run. Could I have the next slide? So here's what you're going to need. And so we call this insurance necessities, because oftentimes when you speak, and this is not a criticism of agencies, insurance is big and complex. Not everybody's an insurance professional. You may not even realize all the different pieces that you're going to need. And so one of the things we will do for you is we'll do a free insurance consultation. No charge, no obligation. So you call us, we'll talk you through the processes. If you happen to have an insurance policy you want us to review, we charge $100 to do an insurance review. So it's nice and easy. You send us a policy, we'll give you complete feedback. We'll take all that gobbledygook in the insurance policy, we'll put it in English back to you. And Lainey, who's with us today, our Director of Operations, is actually the one that does those for our clients. We'll also underwrite a surrogate. If you find someone independently and you don't want to go to an agency, you can come to us, and we will actually review your medical records for you and give you an underwriting description so you'll understand some of the medical challenges you might be faced with. We charge $250 for that process. It's nice and clean, and we have a 35-year reproductive insurance medical person on our end that actually does that review for us. So here's what they need. Surrogates need medical insurance for their maternity care. So someone has to insure them so that they're going to have their hospital bills paid. We're going to talk about different choices people make in that area. Egg donors need medical insurance for complications. In some states, there are 17 states that have actually coverage for IVF processes, but they don't have coverage for complications. So we sell complications insurance in 47 different states. And babies that are not US citizens, and there's a big controversy over that, so I often debate with both agencies and with attorneys on how you do that. The baby may need insurance, and so we have specialized baby insurance for singletons and twins. Lastly, surrogates need accidental death insurance, because if something happens to her in the process, her family needs to be taken care of. So we have a policy that allows the benefit to go to the surrogate's family and also to the intended parents to help reimburse them for part of the loss they have in the journey, not only their own loss, but the financial loss. So here are kind of in broad categories of coverage. We are a Lloyd's of London broker. We've been around for a long time. I'll give you some stats on us in a minute. The second option is the Affordable Care Act. We refer to it as Obamacare. We refer to it as major medical. Covers a broad category there. Some people choose to buy a discount card where they can just do negotiated rates and pay it themselves. Some choose to do nothing and do independent pay. Now, some states require you to have insurance, and so we remind our clients when they choose to go that way that they may be in violation of a state law, but we're not lawyers, so we can't actually tell them that, but we can't do anything about that. And so we obviously, the number one thing we recommend is the number one thing on the list, because that's our business, is Lloyd's of London. So that's kind of the commercial part of this presentation. So let's talk about that as we talk about the others as well. So here's what we do. We have a policy where you pay a basic premium and you pay a deductible, and it covers all the different aspects of the maternity care. It is in some cases broader than some major medical policies. For instance, we offer more ultrasounds than some major medical policies, but in some ways we may have pre-existing conditions where the surrogate had a condition that would be excluded. And so people argue with me about that constantly. That's probably one of the major things I talk to clients about. So one of the things I'll tell folks, people don't call the owner if they're happy. They only call the owner when they're not happy. So I get to talk to everybody that's unhappy, and then hopefully at the end of the line they're happy again, or they're just not talking to me anymore. So let me explain what that means. So if we've given you a list that says your surrogate has these 9 things based on her medical records, based on a review of an experienced medical professional, we'd like you to give some thought to that. We would not want you to say, oh, I'm going to go get different insurance so I don't have to worry about this. The point is to think about that process as you go through it. It's meant to serve you. Once we've got you signed up, you guarantee coverage. So you're not going to have to worry about anything else. You put the deductible on deposit, we're going to pay the bills, we're going to send you EOBs so that you know how your money is being spent. It's interesting because people have told me, in this conference today, I've heard the average cost of a pregnancy is $18,000. So someone told me the average cost of a pregnancy is $60,000. So we, on average, our pregnancies are out the door for about $12,500. That's what it ends up costing from that standpoint. So our company, we're a California C Corp. I've been there, it'll be 11 years on December 1st. I'm the CEO and the owner. I had a business partner until last year, Trish Taylor, which she and her wife Gail were the original founders of Growing Generations, and Trish decided to open the insurance business in 1998. Last year she decided to take her first love back, and she started Choice Surrogacy. So she obviously resigned from us and she sold the company to me, and now I'm the sole owner of it. These products were created by us with Lloyd's specifically to serve this market. So this is all we do. We can address pregnancies, we can address babies, we can address egg donors. Our job is to make this journey painless for the surrogate as well as painless for the intended parents. Oh, can I have the next slide? New Life Agency product offerings. Here we go. So I talked about being the only guaranteed coverage in the market. We have what's called a comprehensive surrogate maternity care plan. You heard at least one of the surrogates mention a miscarriage here. And you heard the intended parents, a couple of them mentioned miscarriages. So we have a program where you can pay an additional broker fee, and that way we guarantee you that you can keep the same insurance policy up to 26 weeks. You get to 26 weeks if everything's been fine, or if you have a miscarriage before that, we'll give you a new policy for free. So that's called the Comprehensive Surrogate Maternity Care Plan. Then the next we have the Basic Maternity Care Plan. We have both the Major, which has a lower level pricing and a different deductible, and also a lower level of capitalization. And then we have our Platinum Plan, which goes to $750,000. Now, what's very popular today, so this is a matter of growing with the market. So Obamacare has changed the face of insurance, not only for us, but for everybody in the world, okay? And so what happens is, now everybody wants to be on Obamacare. So if we had 100 calls a day, 90 of those calls say, what about Obamacare? And the first words out of their mouth. And so we will sell you insurance for your surrogate, for major medical, during the open enrollment period, which is right now. It's going to be starting and it'll end up next year. So if you want, that's what you want, we'll do that. But there are so many risks associated with that, because you don't know, her husband loses her job and then she doesn't have insurance anymore. Okay, a new year comes and they have a new benefit package. and that surrogacy is now excluded where it wasn't excluded before. Okay? The policy is silent on surrogacy, which means it can be declined if it occurs. And then, of course, you always have great lawyers that will come and help you fight for that. But that's a question you have to ask yourself about ease of mind. Is that what you want to be doing while you're in the process, is fighting for your insurance coverage? So this is a contingent policy. If you choose to go with Obamacare, and I would say probably 50% of our clients choose to go that way, then we will sell you a contingent policy, which is a certificate of insurance, and basically it's insurance to have insurance. So if something goes wrong in the process, you step in and our insurance will cover everything for you. So it's not secondary insurance, it's contingent insurance. But what happens is, let's say in week 16, she has complications, and the doctor reports that to Blue Shield, and Blue Shield sees that she's a surrogate, and they say, now they're not gonna cover her. You call us, we get your additional funding for the full policy, and you have no problems. We go back and cover all the claims right from the beginning of the pregnancy. Next, we have IVF cycles complication insurance. We have a number of different varieties here, but these are all for egg donors. We work with, I think, most egg donor agencies and most IVF clinics in one way or another. I think we work with everybody in this room in one way or another. We either insure part of them or we work with them with their clients. And so this will take care of your egg donor if she has any complications. These are very inexpensive policies. The most expensive policy is $230, okay? And the coverage goes up anywhere from $100,000 to $250,000. And this is $1, no deductible on the egg donor policies. Lastly, international newborn care policies. We have a singleton policy, which has a variety of different offerings. We have 4 different offerings in that category. And then we have our international twins. We're the only true international twins marketplace. That's offered by Lloyd's. And Lloyd's is one of those firms that wants to be there to sell product for people who need it. They like to pride themselves on insuring the things other people won't insure, like Tom Cruise's face. Okay. Here are the other options. Now, I don't want it to seem, because I didn't put a lot of negatives about New Life up, I don't want you to say, well, he's negative about everything else. It is not just a commercial, and I'm really serious about that. Let me just, as we go through this, look at this top part, the Affordable Care Act. Well, a major thing about the Affordable Care Act is it continues to be in flux. And technically, there's an exclusion in the Act, if you read it, which we have, and we've hired lawyers, we've hired lobbyists, and we've worked with the federal government, we've worked with the regional director for Obamacare here. There's a clause in the Act that says any procedure that is a third-party payer responsibility, like surrogacy, like kidney donation, is not covered by the Act, okay? Unfortunately, nobody enforces that. So the question, of course, you hear that all the time on television. The immigration laws are fine, nobody enforces them. You know, the economy laws are fine, but nobody enforces them. So the question is, at what point does anyone in the federal government wake up and decide to enforce laws? Then you may have an issue. The other thing is you have a shrinking provider pool. So 2 years ago, for 2015, United Care pulled out. For 2016, Aetna pulled out. And Blue Shield is putting more and more restrictions in their policies. Employers have the right to put a restriction of any kind in any policy they want. That's a third-party payer. So you'll find that. Surrogate's own insurance. I mentioned that already, the employment. It could be her spouse's employment. If those change, she could lose her insurance. Now, she should be able to get new insurance because loss of employment is a defining event, but you don't know, and so you need to guard against that, and that's something else. We'll help you understand those things and walk you through that process. Lastly, self-pay. This is by far and away the riskiest operation. I have some very good friends going through the process right now. They've decided to self-pay for their twins. I've told them that I think they're insane. And they are convinced that everything's going to be fine because they're surrounded by positivity. Well, their surrogate's been on bed rest for 18 weeks. So I would probably have bought insurance if I were them while I had the opportunity. Okay. So now you can see why I said that was 15 minutes. That's a lot to cover. Thank you. I have time for a couple questions. Thank you. Yes. It's something we're looking at adding next year. Well, the question was, loss of reproductive organs insurance is something that she's seeing a lot of. It's something that we're working on this year. So one of the great things about a business like ours, we reinvented ourselves this year. We'd worked with the same people in London as our financial backers for 10 years, and we did a complete turnover of backers in April. The new backer is incredibly involved in our business, which is a good thing for me, and they want to bring up, they keep asking us what new insurances we can bring out. So we've already changed our surrogate accident death policy because people wanted, some surrogates did not want their parents to benefit from it because that made them feel a little hinky, that if something happened to them, their parents were going to get money. They only wanted the money to go to their family. So we changed that this year as one of the examples. We'll be bringing out more egg donor products as well as one community care. We're looking at reproductive organs. We're looking at lots of time, different varieties of insurance. Okay. Yes, sir. That's one that we absolutely plan to bring out. We're in the planning session on that right now. And so Paul, my husband, and I, who's our operations manager, are going to London in November. And our goal is to tie down a whole bunch of those. Embryo transportation, you heard about the one where they lost the embryos in transport, loss of power. There was 7 or 8 different reasons we have on the list. So we'll have that as well for you. Well, since we sell both, this is an interesting conversation. And so again, I don't want to be in counterpoint to my agency partners, but we sometimes have different perspectives on that. So let's say the average cost is about $350 a month for the insurance. You may have to pay that for 2 years. You heard one of the surrogates up here said it took her 9 months to get to that point, just to get pregnant. So with our policy, you only pay for it once. So if we, after full analysis of what it costs, we believe there's about a $3,000 or $4,000 difference between the life agency's cost and affordable care.
And when you write a new London policy, is it risk adjusted for each policy, or is it a flat rate?
No, it's
the way you would buy life insurance.
No, it's both our accidental death insurance, which is, I can't actually say it's like life insurance because the way it's sell life insurance, but it's like life insurance. There's no risk adjustment except for there's a difference in the cost between singletons and twins, because there's an obvious cost difference there. There's no additional cost if it's a C-section. There's no additional cost if you go to a hospital, and only in the twins policy do we bump it up, because people that are having international twins have a tendency to want to go to Cedars-Sinai, which is 40% more than the next nearest hospital that we work with. So there'd be surcharge for that.
And the contingent policy behaves like an umbrella policy?
Yeah, so the contingent policy, you go through the entire process to sign up. We give you a certificate of insurance, so you have something in your hand that says you're insured, and it is good for the entire length of the pregnancy, and it's enforceable at any time on your part. And so we have both the major and the platinum, which you do eligible coverage. You're able to take that, and now you have the assurance that if something goes wrong with the volunteer policy you bought, you have full coverage to go in. We work with virtually every hospital and provider. We do not work with Kaiser because they won't work with us, which is fine. Kaiser basically likes to run their own show, and we work with most of the doctors in the country. Okay.
Well, thanks, Gary. That's terrific.
Thank you
Really good.
very much.
Wonderful.
Pleasure.